Hello everyone, welcome to the online classes. I hope you all are doing good. I am Priyanka Ranga, your science subject teacher. So class, today we will see what we have learned till now. That is from the previous videos what we have done till now. So we have done chapter number 1, that is animal and plants. We have learned about the similarities and differences between plants and animals. Also, we have learned about the second chapter, that is adaptation in plants and animals, which means we have learned about the adaptive features of the plants and animals, how they are physically fit or physical features in them which make them survive on this planet. So without wasting our time, we will now start our today's class. Today we will learn about all the important terms and definition from first chapter, that is plants and animals. Students, what we have learned in this chapter about the plants and animals and what were the important definitions and the important new words which you have learned, we will go through in this. So now number 1 is, first of all, you have learned a new term, that is amphibians. Who are amphibians? And students, amphibians are those animals or those water animals that live both in land as well as in water. Examples of amphibians are a frog or a crocodile. You have also learned this term in your previous class. So amphibians are those animals which live both in land as well as in water. Example, frogs and crocodiles. Second term is, which is also related with amphibians, that is cutaneous breathing. Class, what is cutaneous breathing? Cutaneous breathing is the breathing in which the animals breathe through their skin, that is performed by the amphibians. So these both terms are related with each other. Cutaneous breathing is the breathing performed by the amphibians, that is the breathing through skin. When the breathing process is done through the skin, it is called cutaneous breathing. As the frog and crocodile, they perform their breathing process in the water through skin, and when they are on the land, they perform this breathing process through their lungs. So next, now moving to the next point, that is now next is spiracles. We have learned from this chapter this new term, that is spiracles. What is spiracles? These are the openings on the side of the body of the insects to perform the process of breathing. Insects with the help of these spiracles do the breathing process. Next term is xylem. What is a xylem? Xylem is a kind of hollow tubes on the stem of the plant which help in transportation of the water and minerals from the roots to the stem or leaves of the plant. This is called xylem. It plays an important role in the process of photosynthesis. Now, moving to the next point, that is stomata. Students, stomatas are the tiny pores present underside of the leaves. This help in the exchange of gases so that the leaves can perform the process of breathing in the plants, also for the process of photosynthesis in the plants. Okay, so these are the tiny pores present underside of the leaves of the plants. Next is chlorophyll. You have learned a new term, that is chlorophyll. What is chlorophyll? Chlorophyll is the green color pigment found in the leaves of the plants which helps in the process of photosynthesis. How? because the chlorophyll absorbs the sunlight from the sun and which help ultimately in making the food for the plants, that is photosynthesis. Now just let's talk about photosynthesis. You have seen what is photosynthesis. Students, you can learn the definition or the term photosynthesis by splitting the word, that is photo and synthesis. Photo means light and synthesis means that is combining together or putting together. So what is photosynthesis? When in the presence of light all the products are combined together in order to make food. That is the byproduct of the photosynthesis are sun, that is the light, water, carbon dioxide and chlorophyll. So what is photosynthesis? That is when in the presence of light, that is the sun, and water, carbon dioxide and chlorophyll, the green plants prepare their food and the product which they make is sugar or starch. That is a food for the green plants and this help in their growth. Now when we talk about the animals and how the animals get their food, we have learned three new terms. That is a herbivorous, carnivorous and omnivorous. So what are the new three terms? That is herbivorous. Students, what are herbivorous animals? The animals which eat only plants, that are called the herbivorous animals. Example, deer, goat, etc. Next is carnivorous animals. So what are herbivorous is? Plant eating. And what are carnivorous? Carnivorous animals are those animals who eat only the flesh of the other animals. So carnivorous are the flesh eating animals. So examples of flesh eating animals are tiger, lion, etc. Next term is omnivorous. Omnivorous is the animals which eat both the plants plus flesh of the other animals. They are called the omnivorous animals. So omnivorous animals are plant eating plus flesh eating animals. Examples like bear, crow, etc. Or human beings also are the omnivorous animals. As you know, we have seen that the plants prepare their own food with the help of photosynthesis and the animals get their food from these three ways. That is, the animals are categorized as the herbivorous, carnivorous and omnivorous. So the plants are called the producers of the food because they prepare their own food. So who are the producers of the food? That is plants. While the animals you have seen, they depend on others for the food. They only eat the food. So the plants are called the consumers of the foods. So who are the consumers of the foods? That is animals. So we have learned the two things, that is plants are the producers and animals are the consumers of the food. Now next term which we have learned from the lesson is a stimuli. So what is a stimuli? Class, stimuli is something that causes a reaction. Okay? Stimuli is something that causes a reaction. That is called a stimuli. For example, you can shoo away the animals with the help of a stick. So this is their response. And we have seen that the animals can respond to the stimuli because they have sense organs. Because the animals have sense organ. So they can respond to the stimuli. Because the animals can feel, they can touch, they can smell, etc. And the plants, they don't have the sense organ, but some parts of the plants show these type of movements from which we can say that they also respond to the stimuli. Example, as the morning glory or the sunflower open up with the sunlight or a touch me not plant. Now we will talk about the two processes which we have learned from this chapter. That is a respiration process and reproduction process. First of all, let's talk about the respiration process. Student, what is respiration process? Respiration process is respiration process is in which the plants and animals take in the oxygen from the air and gives out the carbon dioxide. So this is a kind of exchange of gases in plants and animals, because oxygen is a very useful gas present in the atmosphere which help us for our survival and gives out the carbon dioxide in the air. Next we have learned about is reproduction. What is reproduction? Reproduction is the process in which the plants or animals produce young ones of their own kind. So it is actually giving birth to the young ones or their own kinds. So according to the reproduction, the animals are divided in two categories. These are also new terms for you, that is the viviparous animals and the oviparous animals. So what are they? That is, the viviparous animal are those which give birth to the young ones. For example, like tiger or lion or cow, etc. You have seen a dog and a puppy. That is, the dog is a viviparous animal that it give birth to the young ones. And oviparous animals are those which give birth by laying eggs. So they are the birds, reptiles or insects or fish. So we have learned the reproduction and the respiration process here. When we talk about the plants or reproduction in plants, reproduction can be done in plants in different ways. That is from the seed of a plant, from the roots, from stem, layering or cutting. Here we have learned a new term, that is grafting. What is grafting? Grafting is a method of reproduction in plants in which one stem is cut from the plant and attached to the another plant, and that is planted in the soil, and a new plant will grow. This is called grafting. So class, I hope this video will be very useful for you all, as after doing chapter number 1, you can go through all the important definitions and all the new terms in this video. So please go through it and do revision. Keep learning. Thank you. Have a nice day.